Manchester United face Aston Villa in what could be the final game for most of the players of Manchester United and the final game for at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Now, this is the final game of the Premier League, basically, and it feels like a nothing game because whatever happens in the game, we might end up 16th, 17th, or 15th. Whatever the case, we are, it's been a bad season, and it's just going to be what caps up what would be whether a bad season or a good season. On the other hand, it also feels like it is a game of hope. So kind of like, how can Manchester United challenge Villa and we need to show that there is still hope in this squad? Obviously, it's also a test of Amorim's mettle when it comes to like what he expects of his ideal squad in 2025-26 season. And it's kind of like what will be squad planning and all of that. So it is a game that seems to be a huge game because Manchester United have a good record against Villa. Well, just going to try to read you some stats, basically to build you up as regards to how we face Villa before we go to the head-to-head stats and all of that. So Manchester United have won 40 Premier League games against Aston Villa. Only the Red Devils themselves have beaten the opponent more than 40, more often. 42 versus Everton, right? So Aston Villa have also earned 8 points from their last 7 Premier League games against Man United. They've won 2, drawn 2, and lost 3, as many as they had in their previous 31, won 1, drawn 5, and lost 25. Only Arsenal, 23, have won their final Premier League game of the season more often than Manchester United, 22. While the Red Devils also have the lowest loss rate of any team to compete in at least 10 campaigns, 12%, 4 of 32. Now, basically, Aston Villa have won just once on their last 26 games, their last 26 Premier League games against Man United. So it is very important that Manchester United kind of take advantage of this game and know how we can build from here. Manchester United will finish this Premier League campaign without winning 2 matches in a row all season, and it's only the 3rd time in the club's history that they've gone on an entire league season without winning back-to-back games after 1893-94 season and 1921-22 season. And Manchester United are winless in the last 8 Premier League games, drawn 2, lost 6, losing the last 3 in a row, and it's the longest run without a league win since November 1989 and January between November 1989 and January 1990, so 11. And while United lost 4 in a row in the same season in February 1979. So it is basically Manchester United have 18 losses this season, and it's pretty much straightforward. And then watching Rúben Amorim's pre-match press conference, we could tell where his mindset is at, making sure that we finish and higher, and then obviously shows that there is hope. Now, with regards to stats and head-to-head, basically for Manchester United between Man United and Villa, the last Man United have played Aston Villa for the 197 times with 103 wins, 43 draws between both teams, and 51 wins for Villa. In the last couple of games, last 5 games, Man United have won the last 3 or last 4, and then they've drawn the last one. So basically, Man United have a good record against Villa. And I remember last season when Rasmus Højlund scored against Villa. So, and then with regards to recent form and head-to-head, we could all tell with recent form and head-to-head that Man United, basically in the Premier League, have not won in the last 5 or last 6. In the last 6 games, like I just said earlier, we've lost 4. Last 5, lost 4 and drawn 1. And then for Villa, they've lost 1 and won 5. Won 4 in the last 5. And then in all competitions, Man United have won 1 game in 5, and Villa have lost 2 games in 5. And they've also won 3 out of that 5 to 2 losses and 3 wins. So it's a stark contrast to what both teams can offer in this game and all of that. And then basically, this is like with regards to Villa, how they play under Unai Emery. They are very dynamic. they play a 4-2-3-1 formation, and sometimes it morphs into 4-3-3, and it depends on whichever midfielder is available for the team and all of that. But Villa are a very dynamic, settled side. And sometimes I've seen at times when they play a 3-5-2, 3 at the back, because that's pretty much what Unai Emery started with, obviously playing at Villarreal and all of that. So that's pretty much what it is. And they also make like a couple of, they always try to do numerical superiority in midfield, as well as fast transition play on the wings with Morgan Rogers, if Rashford is playing for them, Rashford, and then with Asensio in the squad, Oli Watkins, leading scorer for them and all of that. So, which also kind of, alludes to the fact that obviously Villa have actually been a very good side competing season in, season out. Also, kind of like getting to the Champions League and playing up until the Champions League semi-final, I think. So they've been quarterfinal rather. They've been really, really good this season. And Amorim actually highlighted that they're a very settled side. They've been playing for a long time and all that. So for Villa, they also exploit half spaces, as well as compressing the midfield when needed. And then obviously McGinn as well, one of the players, is also a very good progressor of the ball. He basically has goals in him and all of that. So that's pretty much how Villa play. And obviously with Rúben Amorim, obviously it's a different ball game altogether. So and then if we're to go to predicted lineup for Aston Villa, we're going to go with, obviously based on their last game, Emi Martinez in goal, and then Ezri Konsa, as well as Pau Torres in centre back, as they're playing a 4-2-3-1, and then Madsen and Matikash left and right back. And then we have Onana, and then Kamara in mid. Obviously, their interesting or key player is injured, so we have Onana and Kamara in mid, and then Asensio as the 10. And then we have McGinn on the left, replacing Rashford. Obviously, Rashford is injured, and then Morgan Rogers on the right. And they can switch it up anytime and bring up anybody to fit in any of those positions up top. 4 players. So, and then obviously Oli Watkins is the striker, the top striker, the top goal scorer this season and all of that. So it is what it is. And then for the key player this season, is, and I chose this one because obviously I've watched the player and I see some interesting potential for a 22-year-old, and that is Morgan Rogers. He's played 53 games this season, 4,413 minutes. He has 14 goals and 13 assists. His Villa's top assister this season with 10 goals, 10 assists rather. And then he has been involved in a couple of games, hasn't scored in the last 5 games, but it is what it is. And then 22-year-old English international, very good player and all that, one to watch in the future. And I see a rumor that Man City are interested in him. Meanwhile, he played for Man City's. He came from Man City's academy and played for Middlesbrough under Michael Carrick, and then was sold to Villa. So it is what it is. And then also over to Manchester United and how Manchester United play under Rúben Amorim. It is well known that Manchester United under Rúben Amorim is pretty much clear that it is a 3-4-3 formation that he obviously would not want to change, as we always say, and all of that. 3-4-3 formation, and he plays with a back 3 and two wing backs, and he tries to ensure that those wing backs are try to play one-on-one or attack one-on-one. And then obviously the mid is all about control and progression of the ball and quick transition play. And then he plays with 2 10s. Obviously those ones are the goal threat and the chance creation merchants, and then with a single forward. So it is what it is. Rúben Amorim is still building a squad, and it's going to be interesting what the lineup is going to look like, which also now brings me to the predicted lineup for Manchester United. So predicted lineup for Manchester United in this game against Aston Villa goes like Andrew Onana in net, and then Harry Maguire, Lenioro and Mazraoui as the back 3. And then in mid, we're going to go with Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte. Ugarte did not play the last game, so obviously he's going to play this one. He's going to come in for him from the start in this one because he needed to play a minute. And then Patrick Dogo on the left wing back position. It could be Harry Amas, we never know. But Patrick Dogo on the left wing back position, and then Amad Diallo on the right wing back position. And then obviously Mason Mount played the last game, came off at the 70th minute. He's going to play this one, I believe. Rúben Amorim might want to favor Mason Mount in this one. And then we have Bruno Fernandes, captain, and then chance creator, progressor of the ball and all of that, playing at second 10. And then right 10, while Mason Mount plays at the left 10. And then in this one, it's a surprise striking position, and that is Chido Obi. And hopefully Chido Obi plays this game, starts this game, and then obviously gives Rasmus Højlund the rest and takes him off the firing line. And then maybe Chido Obi gets a chance to score a goal, at least his first goal for the season for Manchester United in the first team. So it is what it is. Obviously, what do you think about the lineup? Do you think that this is the lineup Rúben Amorim should go with? Because he said he's going to go with a strong lineup, so we should expect anything. And then for key player for Manchester United in this game against Villa, for me, obviously, would be Amad Diallo. Now, Amad Diallo, 22-year-old Ivorian international, or the Ivorian Messi as they call him, has played 42 minutes, and he has played 2,663 minutes in total, 2,633 minutes in total, with 10 goals and 8 assists this season, all competitions. He's played the last 4 games and pretty much didn't kind of like make any impact in the game other than trying to create chances for people to score. So hopefully he can be able to get those one-on-one situations and create chances for someone like Chido Obi to score. Now, how Manchester United can beat Chelsea is pretty straightforward. I mean, rather beat Aston Villa. It's pretty straightforward. Sorry, I called Chelsea, but it's Aston Villa. How Manchester United can hurt Aston Villa is pretty straightforward. There are 4 points. Transition into wide areas, very key. A key highlight for how much they can take that, because obviously they're going to be using flank guys, so it's good to transition with the wing backs with Dogo and Amad into wide areas, because they will leave space behind when they press up, and then isolate the center backs. The Pau Torres and Ezri Konsa are really good players, so to isolate them, obviously Chido Obi is an unknown quantity for them, and it will be easier for them to say, okay, they're going to mark them, but it all boils down to Mount and Bruno Fernandes creating those chances. And then number 3 of the 4 things that I believe that Manchester United can do to win Villa is to overload the weak side of the fullback. Maatsen can also be very vulnerable and switch off sometimes. Matej Cash can always press forward, and running back might now be the issue. So obviously if we can isolate them in that situation and overload them, their weak side, then we can take advantage, especially from Bruno crossing into the box or Amad creating one-on-one situations against their defenders. And then also we need to counter their press, because obviously I believe Xerxes is back for this one, but then if we can't counter the press, obviously we can create chances for ourselves, especially when we are disrupting them in the middle and choking the middle up. So yeah, it's pretty interesting how much Steiner is going to approach this one. I will not be surprised if Rúben Amorim makes wholesale changes. But obviously, this is the last match at Old Trafford, and it is very interesting to see what Rúben Amorim is going to do. So, if we're going to go with that, then the next thing will now be, what do you guys think about this game? What do you guys think that Rúben Amorim should do with this game? Should he use this game to test out, the young stars, the young lads who are coming from the academy, like Tyler Fredrickson or Harry Amas, who are trying to establish themselves in the squad or something? Do you think that these are the players that Rúben Amorim should try out? Maybe like Chido Obi. Obviously, Lenioro has established himself in the squad, so most definitely he's going to have his chance to play in this game. So this game promises to be a very interesting game of kind of chess. And for me, surprisingly, I did not predict Man United win for this one. This is the first time I'm ever going to do that. So I predicted a 2-2 draw, kind of like a game of goals, because obviously whatever we do this season, this game might affect what Aston Villa might do when it comes to qualifying for Champions League and all of that. And Aston Villa would need Chelsea to lose, and then for Man United to win, for them to be able to qualify for Champions League. Right now they're in the Europa League spot, and Chelsea are playing Nottingham Forest. So that's pretty much why I mentioned Chelsea earlier, because obviously I was thinking about like the league table and league positions, but Man United have no business with the top half of the table. We're focused on the bottom half, and it's our last game, and we just need to try to get that over the 40-point mark. So yeah, let me know your thoughts and feelings about this one. What do you think Rúben Amorim is going to do in this game, and how do you think he should approach the game? Do you think he should make wholesale changes, bring in those young stars and stuff? But it is what it is. Right now, the truth is, it feels like a nothing game, but I'm predicting a 2-2 draw for this one, and I believe that Rúben Amorim just wants to end this season on a high, and obviously they're going to do a lap of honor across the field, talking to the fans, and then Rúben Amorim is going to give a speech at the end of the game, obviously to try to encourage the fans and to actually, like he said in the press conference, apologize to the fans and explain, and not really explain things, but obviously we're going to have to, as fans, be patient and believe in the process. So let me know your thoughts and feelings in the comment section, and then let's build this and have interesting conversations about this game, and then we can take it from there. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you haven't, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as it relates to Manchester United. You can also go watch our press conference review that we've done for Amorim ahead of the game, and then I'll see you after the game when we do the match review as well as the 5 things. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. I'll see you on the next one. Take care, goodbye, and God bless.